Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kyle Thiem with the National Weather Service Office for Peachtree City, Atlanta. And this is your weekly weather briefing for North and Central Georgia for Thursday, June 17th, 2021. All right, looking at the highlights for what we have in store over the next week. For today and tomorrow, the pleasant weather trends are going to continue. We have a really dry air mass in place with dew points in the 50s, which is going to keep those clear skies and rain chances low. Highs are going to be looking to be in the upper 80s to low 90s. By the time we get into this weekend, we do have a tropical disturbance that is going to be moving north out of the Bay of Campeche and moving towards the southeast, looking to bring a lot of heavy rainfall with it, but still a lot of uncertainty as to the exact track and the intensity of the storm. Afterwards, it's going to leave a pretty moist tropical air mass in its wake for next week. And then it looks like we could have another frontal system moving through by the middle of next week, possibly giving us some more organized rain there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, with a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel by the time we get into mid to late next week. So currently looking out there, we have highs in the lower 80s starting to form out there. Mostly clear skies with a couple small towers along the mountains and for central and southern Georgia. But we're expecting mostly clear conditions and expecting those conditions to continue as we go into the mid to late afternoon into the early evening. With some of the high pressure that we do have in place, we do have an air quality alert for the Atlanta metro region, as we have had a pretty stagnant air mass in place that has had trouble moving out of the area over the last couple of days. And we can see that. Here's that high pressure that was mentioned here, mostly extending over the southeast and the mid-Atlantic states. As we continue from Thursday, we can see a stationary front that's situated right along the Gulf Coast. And as we start to get into Friday, that stationary front is going to move northward slightly and start to fall apart as these air masses start to mix, as that tropical disturbance starts to come northward out of the Gulf of Mexico towards the southeastern coastline. Looking at our temperatures, though, at least for the next couple days, like I mentioned, mostly clear skies, not expecting a whole lot of rain chances, especially for today. Highs are going to be around 90 with some upper 80s for North Georgia and low 90s for Central Georgia. By the time we get into tomorrow on Friday, it definitely will be the warmest day of the forecast period, with highs mostly in the lower 90s. And again, mostly clear skies, some slight rain chances starting to come up around the Americus, Dublin, Columbus region, but still going to be pretty low for Friday. As we start to get into the weekend, here is a look at Invest 92L, as the Weather Channel named it the tropical troublemaker earlier this morning. We do have a 90% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours. As it forms, it looks like it will become more organized as it moves north out of the Bay of Campeche into the broader Gulf of Mexico. That organization is going to help that tropical development. At this point in time, we don't know how strong this system is going to get. If it did become a tropical storm, this would become Tropical Storm Claudette. But as of right now, the intensity forecast, it looks pretty low. We're not expecting a strong storm, but a heavy rain producer as it moves through the southeast. Right now, there's still some uncertainty as far as the storm track, but things are starting to coalesce around a possible, I don't want to say landfall, but a shorefall of this system, the center of the system around the Louisiana coastline. So that's what things are starting to coalesce, but there's still a lot of room for uncertainty as the storm progresses northward in very weak upper level flow over the next couple of days. So as we take a look at that, here's some spaghetti plots of some Atlantic tropical cyclone guidance. And we see there's still a few solutions that are trying to veer it out a little bit west and keep it relatively weaker. But for the most part, this collection here that's moving into the Louisiana coast, into Mississippi, Alabama, northern Alabama, possibly northern Georgia, is kind of the area, the track right there in the middle of all these spaghetti plots that we're expecting the most likely solution to form. As it does so, we can see that here in the WPC predictions here for Saturday morning. That low pressure, again, looking around the Lake Charles area, is right now kind of the middle of all these solutions and the most likely area that shorefall could occur at. And we can see those rain chances starting to increase there on Saturday. As we move into Saturday night, we'll see a slow increase in chances. And when the time we get to Sunday morning, that's when our rain chances are definitely going to spike up as we see it starts to move across the northern Gulf states and into the Carolinas by Monday morning. As we take a look here, this is the 7-day prototype flood hazard outlook from the National Water Center. It's a newer product, it's a prototype, and basically it's showing some current flooding conditions by these dots. We see the orange dots are the minor flooding conditions and the red dots are the moderate flooding conditions. We still have some ongoing flooding down here in the mid to western Gulf states there, going all the way from East Texas into southwestern Alabama. And we can see where they have the potential flooding impacts as far as the timing goes. We can see these double cross hatches where we're expecting days 1 through 7 rainfall to occur. And here through most of the forecast area, this is going to be mostly on days 4 through 7 as we have the tropical system move through and then additional rains ahead of a frontal system move through afterwards. But we see that's where right now our broadest area of concern for possible flooding is going to be, and that includes most of northern Georgia and west central Georgia, including the Atlanta metro area as of right now. And that's in place because as we are expecting this tropical system to move through, here's a look at our 4-day rainfall forecasts. This is going to be through Monday morning, and that's basically going to be the area of rainfall associated with this tropical system. As it moves through, we're expecting widespread 2.5 to 5 inches of rainfall, with locally higher amounts possible wherever their banding might occur for prolonged periods of time. But we're definitely going to be on the wet and dirty side of the storm. So right now, those heavy rainfalls as that Gulf air mass just moves continually with the storm over our area for several days. Definitely looking at some heavy rain, some minor flooding going to be possible in some urban, low-lying, and flood-prone areas, and especially in some flashy river flood areas too, where we could see some flooding around the metro in North Georgia. As for the rest of the storm hazards, right now we're not expecting a whole lot of wind from the storm. Again, we're not expecting it to be really organized as it makes landfall. So right now our wind gusts are still relatively low, sitting somewhere between 15 to 25 miles per hour throughout the weekend, which wouldn't even make a wind advisory criteria. So right now still expecting lower wind gusts, but this one is definitely forecast to change as the track comes more into focus and the storm intensity becomes a little bit more clear. As far as the rest of the forecast parameters though, as we get into Saturday, looking at our highs, again sitting there in the 80s. Rain chances for Saturday, we can see mostly somewhere between 55 to 25% going from the southwest up to the northeast. As we get into Saturday night, we can see those chances starting to jump up as well, with more 50% likely for the metro. On Sunday, our temps are going to be the lowest of the forecast period, so we go from the highest temperatures on Friday to the lowest temperatures on Sunday as we start to get a lot of cloud cover, a lot of rain moving through. We're expecting highs to be closer to around 80 and maybe some mid 80s down into the southeast. Rain chances for Sunday are going to be the highest as of right now. They're definitely subject to change, looking at mostly 60 to 70% for the metro region, and a lot of that's dependent on the storm track. Once that comes into better agreement between a lot of the models, these are likely to go up as the timing for this system becomes a little bit more clear. The timing is a little bit wobbly as of right now, but right now Sunday looks like the highest rain chances. Moving into Sunday night, chances go down just a little bit, down to around 60% for the metro. And as we get into the forecast for next week, so as we mentioned, on Monday, it looks like the system will be on the back end of it as that low pressure moves off into the Carolinas. And right now we can see just north of the Great Lakes a Canadian low pressure up there, and we can see a very organized warm front and cold front with that tropical air mass sitting right there in the middle in that what we call the warm sector. So as we go through the forecast for next week, we see on Tuesday the tropical system has moved well off, and we see that cold front starting to move down into the southeast and the Midwest with a really strong upper plains high pressure system behind it. And it looks like that system will arrive on Wednesday morning, which are going to help reduce some rain chances by the time we get into the middle of next week. So looking at our rain chances for next week, just to put some specific values on them for Monday, as that we have basically that cold front start to move through, and we're starting to get more organized rain chances along and ahead of that cold front. Right now we're looking at percent chance of rain somewhere between about 65 to 75% for most of the forecast area on Monday. Tuesday, as that front starts to kick through, we're starting to see rain chances again high there in the 70 to 75% chance for most of the area. Then on Wednesday, depending on the timing of that frontal system, it looks like our rain chances start to drop off, and we're looking closer to around 30 to 40% for most of the forecast area. As for rain for next week, this is going to be after that tropical disturbance moves through, but looking to focus more on the organization of some storms along the cold front. We could have an additional 1 to 2 inches of accumulations for North Georgia, mainly above and north of the I-20s and I-85 corridors, with some minor accumulations down south of those lines. So if northern Georgia gets hammered with the tropical disturbance with a lot of rainfall up there, the rainfall that's expected to be along the frontal system is definitely not going to do it any favors. So flooding chances do extend through day 7 as we start to get into those areas, just with some of this additional rainfall as this comes into focus. All right, so summarizing up, the pleasant trends that we've been having over the last couple of days look to continue for today and tomorrow. Highs are going to be in the upper 80s to low 90s, and those low dew points there in the 50s are going to keep the rain and the sky cover at bay. So it should be mostly clear skies and very pleasant conditions for this time of year. But the NWS 92L, which is likely to become a tropical depression over the next 24 to 36 hours, looks to be moving into the southeast over the weekend, bringing some heavy rainfall to the area and some possible flooding concerns. We're definitely going to have to keep an eye out for the track and the intensity of this storm as it moves through. And as there's still a lot of uncertainty with not a lot of upper level winds to guide the system, we are expecting some changes to the forecast. So please stay tuned as we head into the weekend for any types of hazards that we're expecting over the weekend. And then as we get into the middle of next week, we return to somewhat normal conditions, but still in a very moist tropical air mass. We do have a frontal system, though, that we'll be organizing by the middle of next week. So by the time we get into Monday and Tuesday, we'll be transitioning from the tropical system into widespread rains and storms ahead of a cold front that's expected to move through there on Wednesday and give us a little bit more relief to get us back to, hopefully, by this time next week, we'll be back into those pleasant weather trends. All right, thank you all for joining us. We hope you all have a great day. If you'd like to get in contact with us about this, the forecast further going into the weekend or next week, feel free to do so. Here's our contact information. But with that, we hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you next Thursday.